What? It was Chewbacca. Good morning and welcome to the JayDennis Podcast for Tuesday, October 25th, 2016. You guys ever see that movie Knocked Up? Came out like 10 years ago or something. I could not get past that part. I forgot the character's name, but they're all just ripping on Seth Rogen's character. And when Jonah Hill's character walks away, he's just like, yeah, no. They're ripping on the guy for growing out his beard. So it's not Seth Rogen's character, it's somebody else. They're ripping on the guy for growing out his beard because he made a bet that he could grow it out. But he started looking like, a terrorist. Everybody's making jokes, pubic hair, all that stuff. And then all of a sudden, the guy walks up and he goes, ha, ha! And he just looks at him like, what was that? He's like, it's Chewbacca. It's just one of those things that catches you off guard. And I hope that I delivered that same performance at the beginning of this podcast. But yeah, no, Chewbacca, Alright, this podcast is already falling apart. But I've had a great productive start to my morning, and I will translate that success onto this here podcast as soon as I take a sip of my iced coffee. Got like a fucking hole on my bottom lip so stuff comes out. But yeah, man. I'm feeling good. I did sleep in a little bit, but I'm here to do the podcast this morning. I have that luxury of doing it this morning because whatever school project I was going to work on this morning, I decided to do it late night. Late night! I did it late at night last night, which normally I don't do homework at night. It's a stupid rule. I'd probably have way higher grades, better test scores, if I had just applied myself and not set strict limits on what times a day I could be productive. If I had just, I don't know. I basically got out of my comfort zone last night, and late at night I worked on a spreadsheet project, because normally if something's due on a certain day and I decide to wait till the last minute, I'll just wake up early and grind it out in the morning. But last night, I'm like, okay, this thing is due tomorrow at 1:30, but I would like to actually record my podcast in the morning. So he said it should take 30 minutes to an hour to do this small project. And that's how long it took. There were 2 parts to it. I did the first part pretty quick. Second part took some effort. Took some trial and error. Had to run some Monte Carlo simulations on Excel. And I got it done. And I followed his instructions, so I should get an A on the project, which will help my grade. But yeah, man, I'm just trying to crush it in school. I'm more than halfway done with this graduating semester. And I think next week I have 2 exams, which I really need to crush it at. Like, these exams are pivotal, paramount. Something else that starts with a P that's important. But yeah, it's just dire. Like, it's one thing if your first exam you didn't, hit it hard right away. But if you could turn it around by the second one, then there's hope. There's hope. So yeah, I have a really productive week coming up, because next week is going to be fucking busy. I have to do a role play for my professional selling class, so I have to rehearse my pitch, maybe practice with my cats. I think I have 2 exams next week, both in finance classes, which, oh lord, finance is my major, but it's my weakest subject. But I aim to change that. I want to do better, especially if I'm going to graduate, Oh, what else? Let me see. Jesus Christ, is it really Next Tuesday? God. Well, here's the thing. When I find out I have like a week or so to study, and it's because a test snuck up on me, I'm just like, all right, I got plenty of time. I can do this. So today I'm actually going to create a study plan, and I'm going to fucking adhere to it because there's no excuse for me to fall short. I've truly improved this semester. I mean, it's not that hard to improve from shit. But in all seriousness, I've been a lot better this semester, especially with a full course load. It has been easy because I haven't had to work that much. But if I find myself just fucking around, I'm like, nah, Jay, don't take a nap. Nah. You know what? Unfortunately, your fat ass is going to have to put the gym on the back burner for today because you have to work on this shit. So, but in a perfect world, if you're super productive and you take care of your shit all the time, you never have to put stuff on the back burner because you took care of your shit in advance. You didn't wait till the last minute like some entitled fuck that has to make excuses because they're stressed out, therefore affecting their relationships with everybody because they couldn't get their shit together because they were feeling tired. Maybe they would be feeling tired if you weren't eating like shit. Oh, you have to eat like shit because you can't afford good food, because you can't work, because you're tired, because you're stressed out from school. Vicious cycle, motherfucker. I'm foaming at the mouth. All right. I wonder, I live on the first floor. I wonder if my downstairs neighbors or the people adjacent to me ever hear me either singing, screaming, you know, if I'm doing vocal covers, yelling on my podcast. People probably think I'm yelling at my cats or my girl. She's not home. My cats are, though, and God bless them for my random outbursts. I'll just come home and be like, what's up? Nah. Most of the time when I come home and there's nobody home, I treat my cats like fucking royalty. I don't come in and come barreling in and go, wah! You know, they're gracious. They're they're regal. So I like to approach them in such a fashion. Excuse me. And I'm back. I'm back. I just had to put my not so fresh coffee away. My new coffee maker will automatically shut off after 2 hours. If a hot pot has been sitting there for 2 hours, it'll shut off the heat. But I think most of us educated folks know that coffee loses its freshness after like 30 minutes. But usually the less coffee you have sitting in a pot, the less it stays fresh. But if you have a full pot sitting there for 30 minutes, that's going to stay fresher longer than a half pot or a quarter pot or whatever. This is the JayDennis Coffee Podcast. Oh, Jesus. I've never really been known. We're about to get intimate here. I've never really been known for having back knee. But when it does happen, oh, God, does it feel gnarly. That is not a trap. That is a fucking zit! Ugh, man. But hey, it wasn't just a productive week for school. It was also a productive week for the JayDennis YouTube channel. This guy put out, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put out 8 videos in the past 5 days. If you go to my playlists, there's a playlist called Talking New Metal, which, hey, who knew? I like new metal. Korn just put out their 11th album, Serenity is Suffering, and in honor of that, I decided to do a whole series on all 10 of their major studio albums. You know, all the heavy ones. Let me explain that differently. Every album except Path to Totality, which is their dubstep album. So I did all 10 of their studio albums. They're not all heavy, okay? Don't get it twisted. But for their first 6 albums, I did a individual video. But then I did a video for albums 7 and 8, and then another video for 9 and 10. So it's 10 albums over the course of 8 videos, and then some point this week, I'm going to put up a Talking New Metal about Serenity is Suffering. So I realized I haven't really put up any videos on my channel in a while, except for the podcast, which is on its own playlist, if you want to subscribe. Oh, geez, how many podcasts am I up to at this point? Started in March, almost up to November. I don't know. It's a lot for now. I do one every Tuesday. But yeah, I just put out a whole spam of Talking New Metal videos about Korn. So any of you Korn fans out there want to hear me shoot the shit about each of their albums, head on over to my YouTube channel. And if your favorite album is Issues, I have a whole video about that. I'd say they average about 8 to 9 minutes, 8 to 10 minutes each. That's the average length of each video. I had more stuff to say about certain albums than others. But Korn's one of my favorite bands. And I've been listening to them for over 10 years now. So it was definitely overdue for me to talk about their albums. So yeah, bunch of new videos on my YouTube channel. And plenty more to come. I'm just, I've been really fucking busy with school. And I realized that I forgot to do a JayDennis September review. I was like, geez, when's the last time I did a video? Oh, shit, I didn't do one for September. So, November 1st, I'm going to put out the September/October JayDennis review, where I talk about shit that went down in September and October. It's all probably going to mesh together. It's all just a big blur. I'm just trying to finish school so that I can get the fuck out with a bachelor's degree and then focus on what's really important. And then put much more of my heart and soul into this podcast. So to anybody that's truly enjoying the quality of this podcast now, just wait until January. Shit will be way more raw and real. But I suppose you're listening to me being raw and real right now, struggling with school. But I'm getting a handle on it. I'm gonna get it done. I have to. There's no choice. You guys are holding me accountable to graduate this semester, so there's no choice. But yeah, so I managed to have some fun this weekend. It wasn't just busy work with school and such. I also went out Sunday afternoon to Lake Louisa, which is this nice state park in Claremont. And my family and I did some family photos out in nature featuring my mom's 3 dogs. So we had fun with that. My girlfriend came along. She's part of the family. Took some pictures. Took a couple of pictures of just her and I. We were all cute and shit. There was a field where there were just a bunch of hidden cacti. So you can't just walk through the field. You got to watch out for cacti. There were trees that could be climbed. So for the first time in like 10 years, I climbed a tree wearing dress shoes. God, there was this trail, this path, if you will, that we were going to walk down the path with the dogs towards the camera while, the photographer took a bunch of pictures. So like, yeah, so we're going to walk away. We're going to walk towards the camera, down the path, photo op. These bitches came up with yoga mats and set up on the path. I'm like, dude, you're on a path. Like, quit acting. Ugh, God, they were so fucking like. Sometimes people are just fucking oblivious. And my mom kept caving and saying like, oh, sorry, you can go. Like, dude, they're interrupting us. We were here first. I know this is state property. It's public property. So people can just do whatever they want. We don't have this space reserved or anything, but it's just like, come on, let's be like, hey, we're gonna be done in a couple minutes. Do you mind? Oh, it's okay. We can wait. Like, dude, your presence is interrupting the vibe of our shot. So either get the fuck out, walk past, but don't stand there and wait like a bunch of cucks. I hate the word cuck, so I put a little in there. Made it sound like cock. Like a bunch of cocks. Cold cuts. But But yeah, that was fun. But it's just people are fucking oblivious. Like, why would you set up a yoga mat on a walking trail? People are gonna have to walk past you. It's gonna ruin your fucking zen. Good luck. Good luck with your namaste when you fall into a cactus, bitch. Ugh. Anyway. And then the previous night, a good friend of my girlfriend's came over from Portland, and we all went to Halloween Horror Nights, which, you know, I think this weekend coming up is the last weekend for it. So we went. It was busy, but we went and we did it. We went into more houses. We were there till like 1:30 in the morning. I ate the worst fucking burger of all time. God, you know, let me tell you something about specialty burgers, people. One of the most delicious burgers you could ever eat is when they put pulled pork and coleslaw on it. Okay? I don't know if that's just a southern thing or a barbecue thing, but when you put those things on a burger, it tastes divine. But this thing tasted like shit. And it was quick service food. Thank Christ, at the last minute, my girlfriend was like, wait, don't pay full price, show them your ID. I got $5 off. So if I had paid full price for that shit, I would have gotten angry. I would have been like, dude, I know you guys are busy, and you make a lot of your food in advance, you don't make it to order. I get it, but this tastes like it's been sitting out forever. And coleslaw is not something you want to have sitting under a heating lamp. It was fucking awkward and disgusting. Ugh! But yeah, and then we decided to get some drinks while we were there too. And I wanted to try one of the specialty drinks. So I'm like, well, may as well do it while I'm here, you know? But you can only buy it in a souvenir cup. I'm like, hey, is there any way I can get that drink in just a regular cup and not have to pay for the cup? And they're like, nah. I'm like, well, shit, fine, okay. The drink was worth it. It was delicious, and it was sugary as shit. So you better believe I did not order refills, because that's what gets you hung over. But it had like watermelon schnapps in it, so it was good. But they're like, yeah, well, if you get the cup, the refills are only this much. It's like, yeah, but what if I just want the one drink? And I'm not going to pay 800% profit for a fucking beer. I would rather have a drink that's got a little more skill into it. I don't know. I have a hard time ordering beer unless it's happy hour or something. I'm really cheap, okay? But it was just one of these nights where I decided, I'll treat myself. And just so I don't have to hit a fucking drive-thru on the way home, I will eat a pulled pork coleslaw sandwich that's been sitting under a heating lamp for a while. I should have just gotten a bacon cheeseburger because that would have tasted fine no matter what. But, God, that tasted like ass. I was severely disappointed by Monsters Cafe. I'm talking shit about my own job. I don't work at that location, but I work for that company. Anyway, let me see. This probably isn't going to be a long podcast. I got to head out to school here soon, but I didn't want to do another late night or afternoon podcast. I kind of missed recording this in the morning, so I tweeted a couple weeks ago that I had successfully listened to every single Bill Burr Monday morning podcast ever. I may have pulled the trigger on that a little too quick. It turned out there was a later half of 2014 and like the first 2 months of 2015 that I'd missed. So, even though the Twitter page gave me a nice go fuck yourself, which is a good thing, I think this is a sign. The fact that Bill Burr didn't retweet or say anything. That's right, I'm getting entitled, okay? You have any idea how many fucking podcasts you've done since 2007? Okay? How many hours? I'm just kidding. But yeah, this is a sign because now 1.5 episodes left. I've officially found where I started. Because the thing was, I had to go back. If you don't listen to the Bill Burr Monday Morning Podcast, this is going to be kind of boring to you, but I'll get over this pretty quickly. But I had to figure out when he started doing the Thursday one as well. So I figured out that was in March of 2015. I started actively listening to his podcast, I think, last summer. And at the time, you could go back 6 months on the iTunes feed. So I was pretty sure I had started at the beginning of 2015, but I had completely forgotten the transition of when he decided to do the Thursday one. So I re-listened to them and I'm like, okay, this is kind of unfamiliar. And so I listened to a couple of them. I'm like, okay, now we're back up to May of 2015. Okay, this is where I actually started. So I figured out where I started. And when I had last left off, I was like almost done with 2014. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish that off. And then I finished off January, almost done with February. And then March is when he started it, which I've already listened to. So 1.5 more episodes. And then I can officially say I've listened to every single Bill Burr Monday morning podcast ever, including the fucking 2-hour one he did yesterday. Jesus Christ. I would have already finished this if I didn't have to spend an extra hour. It's a treat. It's when I downloaded, I was like, Jesus Christ, 2 hours? Because there was a period in like 2013 when like the average length of his podcasts were like an hour 30, an hour 40, like, hey, what's going on? This is Bill Burr. I'm going to talk to you for 3 hours. Like, dude, come on, man. But then like, I'm the one listening to it. Nobody's forcing me to, but I love it. And I'm flailing here. No. Towards the end of 2014, beginning of 2015, the average episodes were like just under an hour, which is perfect. All right, especially if you got like some OCD and you want things to be organized and symmetrical, it works out. But anyway, long story short, after today, I will be able to say, I wanted to be able to say it on the podcast, but who gives a shit? Bill Burr, my name is JayDennis. I am honored if you are listening to this podcast, and I know how much you love getting compliments. This is the JayDennis Podcast / the occasional Monday morning fan page podcast. This goes out to you, man. After today, I will have officially listened to all of your podcasts ever. Now, I don't know if I'm the only person. I know you have kind of a cult following, but I know I'm not the only person that can say that. But it took a while, dude. I think I started back in April. April of this year is when I realized, oh shit, there are episodes from 2007. That's when I started backlogging all these episodes from 2007 all the way up till now. Or up to early 2015, because from 2015 to today, I've been listening to you live. As your podcasts have come out, I listen to them. But the past episodes, I've had to... When I went through all those old ones, I got to skip 2012, though, because I had already went on like a SoundCloud listening spree earlier this year, and I already listened to all of 2012. So I listened to your shit super out of order, but it was fun listening to you talk about all your specials, your transition to from MySpace to Facebook. It's just inspirational story, man, and I appreciate everything. Just being you, doing your podcast, getting awkward. I saw you in Orlando a couple months ago. It was a good time. Unfortunately, you didn't stay after, but again, I'm not an overly entitled fan or anything like that, but you seem like a cool guy, and I deeply appreciate your podcast, so this isn't even a letter. It's just me shooting the shit on my own podcast, which you kind of inspired me to start, so thank you. Thank you! Alright, so, I've noticed that I have more gains at the gym whenever I push myself harder. Who knew, right? So, whenever I do the overhead military press, standing, you stand up, you lift up the bar, and you push it over your head. You just push it over your head. I normally don't do heavy weight with that, but I decided, you know what? Even though my shoulders have gotten broader and bigger, I want bigger traps. I want to see if I could push myself harder and what my limits are right now. So I put on the big boy plates and started doing that yesterday. And oh, Nelly, I definitely felt it. I more than doubled the weight, which of course meant I couldn't do as many reps. But by the end of the second set of doing much heavier, my traps were exploding. god damn, it felt good. So there's certain exercises where I'm going to have to push myself harder and do more weight. But of course that means you don't have to do as many reps. I've been doing lighter weight, but more reps. So low intensity, high volume. Because I've been trying to do like bodybuilding stuff. I'm trying to gain weight, trying to do bodybuilding. More time under tension, all that stuff. And to a degree it works. My arms got bigger because of that. And so did my legs. But personally, I felt better and more, I felt stronger when I did more powerlifting stuff, like real good deadlifting and squatting and like just heavy stuff, because I'm tapping into my nervous system, engaging more testosterone, more strength comes out that way, and in a lot of ways it has a positive effect on the aesthetics of your body. So you're still building muscle. So yeah, my traps were just exploding yesterday, and I'm like, Jesus, I need to do this more often. But yeah, so I got 9 out of 14 games correct this week from the NFL. As of right now, I have a slight lead in my group of people in terms of how many games I've gotten correct. It's just a thing we do online. You just pick games. There's nothing at stake. And right now, in my group of 8 people, I'm in the lead. Just by a little bit, though, so, that could change this week, but I feel pretty good. I think I'm getting better at guessing games. You have to account for all sorts of stuff. Injuries, upsets. It's hard. But I guess I get a little better at it every year. I think the best I ever did was like 11 out of 14. Oh, jeez. But yeah, what about that fucking Seattle Seahawks Arizona Cardinals game? Fucking tied 6-6. What the fuck kind of game is that? I was so bored watching that. I didn't even watch it. I watched it on my phone, just scrolling, refreshing my ESPN app. I'm like, okay, the Cardinals have had a 3-0 lead for most of the game. All right, I picked the Cardinals on this one. All right, very good. Seattle Seahawks, 3 quarters later, return. They fight back with another one. Another field goal. God, I can't believe they missed that last field goal. Just that doink. I love when the NFL... I love when the NFL actually has a sense of humor. They don't go, you missed. They just go, doink. That's what happened. But yeah, tied games are so fucking rare in the NFL. I haven't seen one in years. I don't know if there's been one for a while. I think it's been a couple seasons since there's been one. So heck, I got to witness that shit. How boring was that? And on the flip side, my Dolphins beat the fucking Bills, which was great. They were down, but then they shot back up, and at the last minute, it looked like the Bills were going to try and do something, but the Dolphins held them back, and Ajayi rushed a bunch of yards or something. So it's nice to see the Dolphins making strides. They lost a couple of bad games against some bad teams, but they beat the Steelers and the Bills. The Bills are looking better, so I can't talk shit. How funny would it be if Rex Ryan was much more successful on the Bills than he was with the Jets? It's just so funny that he went to another team in his own division. Like, everybody was like, okay, maybe he'll go to the NFC. Nope, he stayed in his division. Oh, Jesus. The two douchiest teams in our division are the New York teams. Okay? I don't care how pompous the Patriot fans seem to be or how sad the Dolphins fans can be. I'm a Dolphins fan. And we have a right to be sad. It's been a couple years since it's been like 5 years since we've been in the playoffs. And yeah, I think the last Super Bowl we won was in the 70s. I know we came close a couple times in the 80s, but it's not enough. But yeah, so I wonder if that's my thing. Whenever I listen to Bill Burr's podcast, I realize he goes, anyways. He says anyways like every 2 minutes. I'm like, stop saying anyways! But then I wonder what my thing is. I'm just like, so yeah, So because I'm that self-conscious person too sometimes. You're just like, oh shit, I wonder what I say all the time and people make fun of. But yeah, so this morning I was doing a quick little pokey hunt because I redeem my defender points every morning and collect my coins from defending gyms. And I went to... There's a gym near my house that I didn't think I could get into because I thought it was like a gated community. So I decided to go investigate it, and nope, it's not gated. So I drove through it, and I guess you can't drive up to this gym. You have to get out of your car and walk to a basketball court that's in the middle of the complex. As soon as I got out of my car, I just heard, "Bitch!" And I looked over, and this guy was like looking in my direction, but not at me. So I think, and he was on his phone, so I'm assuming he was just responding to something on his phone. So I was like, okay. It's early in the morning. I haven't had any food yet. I don't want any trouble. So I just closed my door, locked it, and just walked off. Went and claimed the gym real quick. Came back. And it was just, normally I back into a spot, but for that I was just like, fuck it, I'll just pull into it. This was one of those communities where every parking space said, do not back in. And then there were signs at the end of every street that said, no reverse parking. And, God, here's the thing. I know most rules exist for a reason. And generally speaking, I'm good about following rules, especially traffic rules, because I've got a couple tickets in my life, and it's a fucking pain in the ass. So I just fucking roll with it. And, but what the fuck is the point of banning that? Oh, you might hit a pedestrian if you back in. Oh, you might hit the curb. It's like, no. Here's the thing, guys. I'm speaking from personal experience. I've had years of practice. You know why? Because I always back into a spot. Always. Even though I just said I pulled into one. Okay, let me give you a statistic from my ass. 99.9% of the time, I back into a spot. Okay? Every time I come home, I back into my spot. Every time I go to the grocery store, I back into a spot. Or if it's those weird diagonal fucking lanes, I'll try to find a spot that has two in a row empty. I'll drive through the first one and park facing out at the other one. Which, you can make all the BMW douchebag jokes you want. Oh, you back into your spot like a douchebag. I do it for survival reasons. I do it because, God forbid, I need to fucking, run or escape or fly out. I'm already facing out, ready to go. I don't have to back out or some shit. I do it for my safety. And I also do it for convenience. Whenever I'm in a parking garage, and trust me, I'm good at backing into spots. I don't take 10 years to do it. At the most, it takes me one extra try to adjust. But I'm not one of these idiots that takes 2 minutes to back into the spot. It usually takes me 10, 20 seconds tops. Not even, because I'm good at it. You know why? Because of practice, repetition, and just doing it. Most things you can get good at just by doing it a lot. Like podcasting. I imagine this podcast is a lot better than it was on day fucking one, Were my volumes not at good volumes back in the day? Huh? Were they kind of quiet? Sorry. But, yeah, I just don't get it. So I went online and I was like, why the fuck do illegal parking, reverse parking things exist? And it's just a bunch of mouth-breathing forums where people are like, well, they don't want you to back up into a pedestrian that's walking on the sidewalk. I'm like, yeah, that's why you use your fucking rearview mirrors to check. And how's that any different than somebody walking down the street? So you back out of the spot. What if it's the same danger? Well, when people back into spots, they don't want when people usually back into spots, they wait till the tires hit the curb. Like, no, you fucking don't. If you have a sound presence of mind and any type of spatial awareness, you know how big your car is, how big the spot is, and usually thanks to muscle memory and practice, you know how long you have to back up before you hit the brake. I don't let my fucking bumper hang over the curb. Those parking spots are big for my car. So, fucking idiots, man. Like, again, whenever I'm in a parking garage, I like to face out because if a bunch of people are trying to fucking leave, they're not going to let you back out. But if you're already facing out, you can just drive straight out. It's fucking easy. It's for convenience and it's for safety. That's why I do it. But no, I don't expect every other person to back into their spot. You know why? Because when you're first getting somewhere, it's easy to just pull in. It takes an extra step to back into it. And sometimes that could be a little inconvenient if there's somebody behind you. But if you're like me and you're good at it, you're not really adding any inconvenience. So no, I don't expect everybody else to do that. So, but at least let me have mine, okay? And if it's such an inconvenience that, oh, I can't see the license plate if he's backed in, it's like, dude, more than 90% of the fucking license plates you're seeing are visible. I'm not going to back up so far to the wall that you can't see my license plate. Because we live in a fucking state that doesn't have front plates. I don't know. It's fucking stupid. I know it's just me doing my thing, so if something goes against my thing, it's automatically a problem. Like, I can't do the thing I normally do, so it's a problem. It's fucking stupid. Sometimes I'm flexible, and I'm like, okay, I can deal with this. But this is just one of those things where I'm just like, what the fuck? I can't back into a spot. Whenever I want to leave, I have to wait like every other jackoff to have somebody nice enough to let me pull out, but since they're pulling up so fast, they're not giving me any room to back out because they're being impatient. It's stupid. So I park facing out so that I can exit quicker because, okay, I'm going to make one more point about this, then I'm going to be done. If you are a punctual person and you're not in a rush, you have that little bit of extra time to back into the spot. And again, it might only take you a couple seconds like me, so it's not really a big deal. But at the same time, if you're punctual and you just want to get the hell out of wherever you just were, you want to just get the fuck out, you get to just drive right out of the spot. You don't have to back out. So it just depends on what your skill set is. But to me, knowing how to back into a spot is an important skill. You know? I don't look at other people and go, what a bunch of idiots. They're all pulling into the spot. They can do that if they want. It's no skin off my dick. But you know, I wish more people took an interest in doing it because then they might have a little more empathy for my situation. All right, guys, that was the JayDennis Podcast for Tuesday, October 25th, 2016. I am just trying to crush it at school right now. Trying to graduate this semester. New Korn album, Serenity of Suffering. New Sum 41 album. I bought that one too. I will be talking about Serenity of Suffering on a video coming out soon. I thought it was a great album. Definitely putting that towards the middle or the top. They really outdid themselves and improved. Ever since Korn 3, they've improved with each album, especially with Head coming back. And with Ray Luzier. Sorry if I butchered your name. Amazing drummer. God, I saw them live last year. The guy's a fucking maniac as a drummer. So great replacement for David Silvera. But all right, guys, I will talk to you next week. Also, check out my band, Raptor Riot. Go to raptorriot.bandcamp.com to buy my EP. It supports me, the podcast, everything. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you next time.